In the deep silence of space, the alien planet Zarnak floated like a jewel. It was peaceful, rich, and full of life. Its people believed they were safe. For years they had ruled the nearby systems. No one dared challenge them. 100 years ago, Earth was attacked. The Galactic Council, including Zarnik's leaders, had voted to destroy it. Humans were called wild, dangerous, and unfit for the stars. So the Council sent a massive fleet. Earth's skies burned, cities fell. Billions died, and then silence. The Council believed Earth was gone forever, but they were wrong. It began with a whisper. Zarnak's largest space station, Relay Post 7, picked up something strange. A black object, cold and silent, moved through the edge of their system. It didn't respond to hails. It gave off no signal. It moved fast to fast. The object was not on any records. Not Zarnak. Not Council. Not pirates. Nothing. At first, the Zarnokians laughed. Just space debris, they said. But deep down, something felt off. The object stopped near Moon Sector Y3, close to one of Zarnak's oldest military outposts. Hovered in place. Still. Number signal. No lights. Just a black shadow in space. The Zarnak High Command grew nervous. Send a drone, said Commander Revik. Let's see what this thing is. They launched a fast, well-built, unarmed. 10 seconds after it got close, the probe vanished. No explosion, no debris. No sound, just gone. Silence fell in the command room. Revik stared at the screen. Send another. The second drone followed, gone. Now the joke stopped. General Valtrix, head of Zarnak's defense force, entered the command center with fear in his eyes. This is not debris. That's a warship. But who would build something like this? Asked one officer. Only the Council has stealth ships, like Valtrix interrupted, his voice cold. This isn't a Council ship. The room fell quiet. An old technician, gray and hunched, suddenly gasped. I've seen this design before, back when I was young, when Earth still existed. Everyone turned. This ship looks human. People froze. No one spoke. The word human had not been said in decades. But that's impossible, Revik whispered. Earth is dead. The technician looked at him. Is it? That night across Zarnak, fear spread. The alien news networks reported it carefully. Unknown object detected. Military watching. Situation under control. But the people weren't stupid. They remembered stories of Earth's fury, of human weapons that destroyed entire fleets, of soldiers who never gave up, a planet that fought to its last breath. And now, something from that past had returned. At 3:14 Galactic Time, all screens on Zarnak went black. Then a message appeared. Simple white text on a black screen. We remember, no name, no face, just 2 words. Zarnak's skies exploded in chaos. People screamed. Power grids failed. Defense systems locked. It was like a ghost had returned. The Council sent messages. Keep calm. Reinforcements are on the way. But Zarnokians no longer believed them. They looked to the stars with one question. Is Earth back? In orbit, the black ship finally moved. Slow, silent, deadly. It positioned itself above orbit station Varga, Zarnak's main defense platform. Inside the station, alarms screamed. Soldiers rushed, cannons aimed. The captain of the station, Commander. Helix stared at the screen. Tried contacting it again, he said. The officer tried. No answer. Then, all frequencies, a deep human voice echoed. You destroyed our home. Now we return the silence. A flash of light. Single pulse. Boomed out orbit station. Varga vanished. No pieces, no escape pods, just space dust. On the surface, sirens wailed. People ran to bunkers. Others cried in the streets. The government tried to calm them. The truth was clear. This wasn't just a ship. This was a message. Earth was not dead, and it had come to speak in a language. The Council would understand power. In every corner of Zarnika's eyes turned to the sky. The stars no longer felt safe. The myth of human extinction had been broken. Something had survived, and now it watched. The next morning on Zarnak was not calm. The sky was clear, the sun rose as usual, but nothing felt normal. Everyone knew. Something had changed. Overnight, one of the most powerful space stations in the galaxy had disappeared. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Erased. No warning. No survivors. Only one possible suspect. Earth. But Earth was dead, wasn't it? Inside the Zarnak High Command Tower, a meeting was taking place. The most powerful leaders of the planet sat around a black round table. Their faces were pale, their voices low. "We are under attack," said General Valtrix. "The object in orbit is a human warship. I've confirmed it with the old war archives." "Impossible," whispered Chancellor Kriv. "Earth was destroyed a century ago. We saw it happen." Valtrix turned on a screen. Grainy old video. Played it showed Earth burning under Council fire. Huge explosions lit up its surface. Giant alien battleships floated above. "That was 100 years ago," Valtrix said. "We thought they died, but maybe some survived. Maybe they rebuilt in the dark." No one spoke, he continued. "They're not asking for peace. Sent no diplomats. They didn't even say their name." He pointed to the screen again. "We remember. That is not a message of peace. That is a declaration of war." The room stayed silent. Even the most arrogant leaders didn't deny it now. Zarnak had made a mistake. It's a big one. Far above the planet, the black human ship still floated silently. It didn't fire again. It didn't move. It just watched. Across the planet, fear spread like wildfire. Children cried. Civilians tried to flee cities. Markets closed. Zarnak's massive military began full lockdown. Troop carriers moved. Satellites activated, drones were launched. The whole system turned into a war zone. And still, the ship remained silent. In the ship's command deck, Captain Ares Walker stood tall in front of the glowing main screen. He was a tall man, middle-aged, with silver hair and deep blue eyes. His uniform was black, with the old Earth Federation symbol on his chest. Behind him, his crew worked quietly. No one smiled. No one joked. They knew what they were here for. This was not a patrol. This was justice. Ares looked at the hologram of Zarnak. "They don't know what we've become," he said. His second officer, Lieutenant Rika, nodded. "They think we're still broken, still burning. They're wrong." Ares touched a button, showing a fleet hidden behind a nearby moon. 10 more human warships waited in perfect silence. All black, all deadly, all cloaked. He looked out. "The window. We didn't forget, Rika. We remembered everything. The fire, the screams, the betrayal. And now," clenched his fist, "we answer." Back on Zarnak, panic turned into paranoia. Ships were grounded. Airports closed. The government activated Emergency Code 0, something not used in over 50 years. Then came the shock that broke the system completely. Another message. This time, it appeared not just on Zarnak but across 5 nearby alien worlds again. Simple text. "We remember, and we are not alone." People screamed in fear. Alien worlds that once mocked Earth now looked to the stars in silence. How many ships were out there? How many humans survived? What were they waiting for? Zarnak's science ministry tracked movement near the second moon. It wasn't just one ship anymore. There were 10, then 20. Then they lost count. Inside the High Command, Chancellor Kriv shouted, "We must contact the Council." "We can't face this alone," General Voltrix slammed the table. "We started this. We voted for Earth's destruction. You think the Council will save us now?" Chancellor Kriv fell silent. He knew the truth. If Earth had returned with this kind of power, then no one was safe. Not Zarnak. Not the Council. No one. That night, the humans acted again, at exactly 1 o'clock hours. All Zarnak defense satellites exploded, one by one, silently, perfectly. No warning. No defense. No errors. Just precision destruction. In less than 10 minutes, Zarnik's sky defense was blind. Then came the voice. Not a message on screen. Not a transmission. A voice deep, human and cold, broadcasted across every device on the Asceti. Planet Zarnak voted to end us. Zarnak watched Earth burn. Zarnak did nothing while billions died. Now we return the silence. In the capital city of Velkar, people looked to the skies, and they saw something no one ever expected. The clouds began to glow. Red not from fire, but from thrusters. Massive human warships, each the size of a city, descended slowly from the sky. They didn't fire. They didn't speak. They just arrived, and the ground shook with their presence. The people dropped to their knees. Many screamed. Others simply whispered, "The humans are back. The ghosts of Earth. We are not safe anymore." Inside his ship, Captain Ares Walker watched the panic unfold. He didn't smile. He didn't cheer. This wasn't revenge. This was a warning. They could have turned Zarnak into ash in an hour, but they didn't. Not yet. Not unless they had to. Begin. The transmission, Ares ordered. A new message was sent to the entire council. You silenced Earth. Now Earth speaks. Listen, or burn. The alien commanders gathered inside the glass-walled chamber on Station Volkar, far above the desert moon of Zareth. The station floated like a jewel in orbit, protected by hundreds of defense drones and plasma cannons. The council leaders believed it was the safest military post in this part of the galaxy. They were wrong, as the night cycle began. An urgent alarm echoed through the walls, one no one had heard in over 200 years. Unknown warp signature entering the sector. Commander Drex of the Krogan Empire slammed his fist on the console. Who dares break through the void wall? The others stared at the screen. A single red dot blinked on the outer edge of their border. It was coming fast. It's too fast. Could be a pirate, said Admiral Yeltri, brushing back her white tendrils. Or a glitch. But the ship didn't slow down. It came in hotter than anything they'd seen. The scanners began to glitch. Frequencies twisted. Radio static screamed through the speakers. Then it appeared on the main view screen. A ship massive, black and pulsing with energy, dropped out of warp, fire trailing behind it like a comet. It was shaped like a blade, wide and sharp. Its hull shimmered with armor no one could identify. And on its side, glowing with red light, were two words. TSS Nightfall. Earth Aphelity. The room went silent. Commander Drex's throat dried. That can't be. Everyone knew Earth was gone. Broken. Silent since the Terran Purge. The humans had been too violent, too independent. The Council had crushed them in a brutal campaign. Or so they thought. Scan it again, Drex shouted. Check every file. That ship is supposed to be extinct. The Nightfall hovered just outside firing range. It didn't speak. It didn't signal. It just floated there like a ghost with fire in its eyes. Suddenly, the entire defense network shut down. Plasma turrets blinked off. The drone swarm froze in space, then crumbled into dust. Security systems failed. Even the station's power dimmed. Darkness filled the command center, and then a message appeared across every screen. Return what you stole, the words repeated. Again and again, Commander Drex turned pale. How did it get into our systems? Admiral Yeltri backed away from the console. This is impossible. That kind of tech doesn't exist. One of the younger officers, a nervous Venerai named Plith, whispered, It's not tech. It's human. Panic spread through the station. Emergency crews ran to weapons decks. Engineers tried to reboot the shields, but nothing worked. The Nightfall had turned the station into a coffin, and still it did not fire. It waited on board the battleship. Deep within its armored command room sat Captain Reva Hale. Her dark eyes watched the alien station through the curved glass. Around her, the ship's AI whispered softly. Tracking every heat signature and signal pulse, they have 15 minutes to respond, Hale said calmly. Then we show them what Earth remembers. Her second in command, Lieutenant Barrick, nodded. Orders are clear. If they don't release the prisoners, we burn the station. The crew of the Nightfall had been handpicked, survivors, ghosts, the last children of a broken world who had trained in silence, hidden from the Council's eyes. Their goal wasn't survival, it was justice. Captain Hale's voice was ice. "I thought they could kill us all. They were wrong." Back on the station, Commander Drex argued with the Council via emergency channel. "This is not just a ship," he shouted. "This is a message. Earth is back." But the Council, far away in the shining towers of their core worlds, laughed. They didn't believe it. They called the Nightfall a fake, a trick, some rebel copy. "Destroy it," the Council leader ordered, "or we will destroy you." Commander Drex turned toward his crew. "Fire everything we have." Station's cannons lit up again just for a moment. Then they exploded. One by one, each weapon turned to dust, melted by invisible energy. The Nightfall didn't move. It hadn't even fired yet. But its presence alone was breaking reality. Then came the final warning. A deep human voice echoed across every device. "You have taken lives. You have broken peace. You have chained our people. The storm is here." A moment later, the Nightfall fired. Not with missiles. Not with plasma, with silence. A beam of dark energy, colder than space and sharper than time, cut through the station's side. No fire, no explosion. Just emptiness, erasing metal and screams alike. Half the station was gone in one breath. The rest began to crack. Inside the command center, Drex fell to the floor. The air was thin. The walls were cracking. Outside, the stars were spinning. "They weren't supposed to come back," he whispered. From the Nightfall's bridge, Captain Hale gave the final command. "Leave survivors. Let them run. Let them tell the others." The ship turned slowly. Vanishing into a fold in space, it left behind fire. Silence on the return of a name the galaxy thought it had buried forever. Humanity, the survivors from station. Bolkar fled in panic. Broken ships limped away from the wreckage. Smoke and debris floated in space like frozen tears. Those who made it out alive didn't speak. They didn't scream. They just stared into nothing, trying to understand what had happened. For over 100 years, the Galactic Council believed. They had destroyed Earth. Humans had resisted too strongly during the early expansion era. So, the Council launched the Terran Purge and turned Earth into dust. Or so they thought. But now, single human ship, the Nightfall, had appeared and wiped out one of the most secure defense stations in the galaxy without taking a scratch. That ship had sent a message to everyone. Humanity had returned, and it was not afraid. The news spread like wildfire. On alien news networks, shaky footage showed the moment the station vanished into silence. Some called it a weapon from another dimension. Others believed it was the return of a myth. But those who knew the truth trembled. Back on the Council homeworld of Velkara Prime, the high leaders gathered in a golden chamber, their faces full of fear. "This can't be happening," said High Voice Gertel, his skin glowing with stress. "We must not panic," replied Minister Relian. "It's one ship, just one." "And yet," said the elder Mayari, "that one ship destroyed an entire station without warning. What if it is not alone?" There was silence in the room. Then an emergency. Transmission crackled through. It was from a patrol fleet near the abandoned Terran zone. The officer's voice was shaking. "This is Patrol Sigma 4. We detected a signal from deep inside Earth's former sector. We thought the planet was dead, but there's something down. There's something waking up." The Council froze. Someone whispered, "Earth is still alive?" Panic spread through the chamber like fire. Meanwhile, far from the Council's eyes, deep inside a hidden asteroid base, Captain Reva Hale stood in a dark room surrounded by holograms. The Nightfall had returned to its secret dock, hidden inside an ancient human stronghold known only as the Vault. Old human banners still hung on the walls. The symbol of Earth, blue and white, shaped like a rising phoenix, glowed softly above the central table. Beside Reva, her crew gathered. Each one had lost everything to the Council. Some were orphans, some were soldiers left behind. All of them had waited years for revenge. Lieutenant Barrick stepped forward. "Intercepted Council chatter confirms it. You know Earth is still active. They're preparing to launch a full fleet to wipe it clean. Ariva's jaw tightened. We won't let that happen, she said. This time, Earth won't fall. This time, we fight on our terms. The AI called Echo shimmered to life behind her. Captain, deep scans show energy signatures rising from Earth's core. Old Terran defense systems. Still functional, Riva turned. Wait, after all this time, not only functional, Echo said, but evolving. The room went quiet. The truth was bigger than revenge now. Earth wasn't just surviving. It was preparing. Something ancient, something buried deep beneath its surface, was waking up, and it was angry. Back on Velcara Prime, the Council had already launched a special strike force. 50 elite warships, armed with the latest quantum cannons and antimatter bombs, were headed straight for Earth's system. Their mission: finish the job, destroy whatever remained. But they didn't know the system had changed. When the fleet arrived, at the edge of Sol, something strange happened. Their sensors went blind. All long-range signals went dark. The stars around them shimmered, then disappeared. The space around them twisted like water. What is this? The fleet admiral shouted. The answer came too late. Dozens of cloaked satellites, black, ancient, silent, powered up near Mars. They were relics of the old Earth Empire, thought to be long dead. But the moment the fleet crossed the invisible line, the defense grid activated. It didn't fire missiles, it activated. Gravity. The alien ships twisted as their engines collapsed under impossible forces. Ships bent, then broke. Some vanished into black holes the size of a coin. Others spun out of control, crushed by their own weight. Only 5 ships made it past Mars, and waiting for them near Earth's orbit. Was the nightfall? Captain Hale stared at them through her viewing screen. They still don't understand, she said. She raised one hand. Fire. This time, the nightfall did not hold back. Mass drivers launched railgun slugs at 10 times the speed of sound. Plasma spheres melted holes like butter.
Ow.
One alien ship exploded before it could return fire. Another tried to flee, but its engines had already been cut. Within 60 seconds, 4 ships were gone. The last one, its captain begging for mercy, was left alive. Reva let it go. Let them carry the message, she told her crew. Is not a memory. It is a warning. Down on Earth's surface, deep inside the ancient ruins of New Geneva, a massive undergore. The lone alien ship that escaped Earth's defense grid returned to the Council scarred and terrified. Its captain, a veteran of 7 campaigns, stepped into the Council chamber with burns on his arms and tears in his eyes. He fell to his knees. Never stood a chance, he whispered. They didn't just defend, they hunted us. The chamber was silent. The leaders of the Galactic Council had never looked so pale. These were the same people who had once voted to destroy Earth without hesitation. But now, they saw what they had created, a monster born from the ashes they left behind. High-voiced Gertel slowly stood. What weapons did they use? The alien captain looked up. Weapons we do not understand. Some of them bend time. Some destroy gravity itself. Murmurs spread across the room. One council member, a scholar from the Viren race, spoke in disbelief. That kind of technology is banned across the galaxy. Even we don't use it. But humans do, said Gertel, and they've had 100 years alone to perfect it. They had underestimated Earth. Again, meanwhile on Earth, the underground complex known as the Core came to life. This was not a military base. It was something older, something from before the Purge, a deep system buried below the surface. Created for one purpose, to wake the Guardian. Inside a chamber the size of a mountain, a massive machine began to move. It looked like a giant humanoid figure made of black titanium and silver plasma cores. The Guardian wasn't a robot. It was a living weapon, powered by something humans once called neural symbiosis. Its heart was part human, part machine. And it was angry. Captain Reva Hale stood in the control room above the Guardian's chamber. Her face was pale, eyes fixed on the rising Titan. ECHO's voice buzzed from a console. Guardian unit status. 84% reactivation. Neural link preparing. Reva nodded. How long until it's ready? 2 hours.
Ow.
But once awakened, the Guardian cannot be stopped. Outside Earth's orbit, more alien fleets gathered. The Council had decided that this was no longer a mission, it was war. They sent the Armada, a fleet so massive that its ships blocked out stars. Over 500 warships, cruisers, and dreadnoughts approached the Terran system with one mission: end Earth. Inside one of the lead ships, Admiral Cavall watched the scanners. Prepare for full invasion, he barked. We take no prisoners.
His
Fleet entered Mars orbit, and the stars blinked out, one by one. Cloaked Terran ships emerged from behind moons and asteroids. They didn't send warnings, they didn't speak, they simply attacked. The battle began. The Nightfall moved like a shadow. Through fire. Its hull reflected lasers. Its plasma turrets fired silently, precisely, cutting through 3 enemy ships in a single pass. Captain Hale wasn't aboard her mission, was Bello, but the AI-controlled ship fought like it had fury in its veins. Above Earth, an old Terran orbital station, forgotten and half-broken, suddenly powered up. The solar panels rotated, cannons extended. Satellite-based EMP blasts disabled half a dozen alien cruisers instantly. It was like Earth had hidden thousands of weapons across the system, waiting for this moment. But even as the aliens lost ships, they kept coming. Inside the core, the Guardians. Chest lit up with bright blue energy. Its fingers moved. Its eyes opened, stood up fully, the ceiling cracking above its head. Reva stepped forward. A neural cord attached to her spine glowed and pulsed. She took a deep breath. ECHO. Begin sync. Confirmed. Guardian Minlink initializing. Reva fell forward but didn't hit the ground. Her body went still. Her mind surged forward, into the machine. She opened her new eyes. Now, she was the Guardian, standing over 600 feet tall. The Guardian stepped out of the Earth base. The ground shook. Mountains echoed with its steps. Alien ships near the atmosphere spotted it. What is that? One commander screamed. Then the Guardian raised its arm. A beam of pure gravitational energy shot into space, slicing an enemy battleship in half like paper. Another ship fired missiles. The Guardian caught them. With one wave, it crushed them into dust and blew the pieces back into the fleet. From orbit, the entire galaxy watched. Someone broadcast the footage to the wider Council network. Billions of aliens saw the moment Earth rose again, but something else happened. On planets where humans once lived and worked, on colonies where they were cast out and hunted, the old flags were raised again. Underground human cells across the galaxy saw the footage of the Guardian, and they knew. The time to rise had come. Inside the Galactic Council's emergency chamber, everything was falling apart. Factions were arguing. Some wanted peace. Others screamed for total extermination. But one alien stood quietly in the back. Watching the feet of Earth's Guardian walking through fire, he whispered, "They are not the same species we once fought." "No," said his companion. "They've become something else, something worse." "No," the other alien said slowly. "Something stronger." Back in space, the Nightfall flew beside the Guardian. Together, they pushed forward toward the heart of the invading fleet. As more alien ships exploded around them, Captain Hale's voice echoed through every human frequency. "This is not just Earth's revenge. This is justice. You hunted us like animals. Now we're the storm, and no one escapes a storm." The sky over Earth was full of fire. Alien ships burned like falling stars, crashing into oceans and mountains. Cities shook. The people of Earth watched from bunkers, shelters, and deep underground facilities. They were not afraid anymore. They were waiting for one thing: victory. And that victory had a name now. The Guardian, Reva Hall. Now fully connected to the machine Titan, moved through the smoke like a walking mountain. Her mind was inside the Guardian, her thoughts linked to its every muscle and sensor. She could feel the temperature of space, the pressure of enemy weapons charging. and even the fear of alien pilots watching her from their cockpits. She could hear their panicked orders in their own languages. Retreat. Target the core. She's looking at us. Reva was silent. She didn't speak back. She let the Guardian do the talking. With one stomp, the Guardian shattered an entire crater and launched into the upper atmosphere. Its thrusters roared, like 1,000 storms in orbit. The largest enemy warship, a giant flagship called Dominion, spear-faced the Guardian directly. It was nearly the size of a small moon. It had enough firepower to destroy a planet, but what it didn't have was fear. Humans had it. They had lived with it, tasted it, survived it. Fear had shaped them, and now humans had turned it into something else. Fuel. Reva looked at the Dominion's spear. Let's end this. The Guardian's chest opened, revealing a core of burning white light. This was the pulse core, something not seen in the galaxy for thousands of years. The aliens didn't know what it was. They thought it was just energy. They were wrong. It was rage. The Guardian fired. A beam of light the size of a city ripped through space. It hit the enemy flagship midsection. The ship didn't explode immediately. First it cracked, then it groaned. Then it split into 6 pieces, and finally, each of those pieces burned into ash. The explosion lit up the entire system. Everyone saw it. On distant planets, humans in hiding cheered. They wept. They screamed. Earth was no longer the victim. Earth was the avenger in the Galactic Council's war room. Panic turned into chaos. Some members demanded a surrender. Others tried to flee. But one of the oldest council members, shadowy figure from the cold moon world of Sarek, stood tall. His name was Varn Zell. He had voted for Earth's purge years ago. He had always hated humans. But even he now knew the truth. We cannot fight this anymore, he said coldly. We must end this war before Earth ends us. No, he shouted. A blue-scaled general. We finish what we started. Barnzell turned to him slowly. You don't understand. They've surpassed us. They were weak once, but now they've evolved through fire. They're only one planet, the general barked. No, said Varn. They are a storm now, and they are not alone. He was right. Across the galaxy, something unexpected happened. Old human colonies, places the Council had abandoned or conquered, started waking up. On the mining world of Praxis 5, humans rose from deep tunnels, wearing armor made from scrap metal and stolen tech. On the prison moon of Vorgothri, human prisoners overpowered their guards and took control of the station. They raised the Earth flag again, and on the trading hub of Delvis Prime, hidden ships uncloaked ancient Earth vessels that had been sleeping, waiting, watching, one by one. They lit up their engines. The human resistance, once thought dead, was alive, and they were ready to answer Earth's call. Back above Earth, the Nightfall flew beside the Guardian, its black hole glowing from battle damage. It had taken hits, but it still moved like a ghost. ECHO's voice echoed in every Terran ship. Message from Terran Command. Push forward. Defend Earth. Send a message they'll never forget. Reva Hal didn't hesitate. She launched the Guardian. Forward again. More alien ships were waiting. New ones. Sleeker. Faster. Built to kill. But it didn't matter. Reva had become something else now. Her mind wasn't just human anymore. She had bonded fully with the Guardian. She could see things before they happened, predict movement, feel power. The alien ships fired missiles. Reva spun the Guardian midair, catching 2 missiles and throwing them back like stones. They hit a cruiser and blew it apart. A third missile tried to flank her, but she didn't dodge. She absorbed. Idadian's armor shifted, heated, then cooled. The missile's energy became part of the Guardian's power. Alien generals watching the battle screamed. Nothing stops it. It's feeding off our weapons. The galaxy was silent, but not with peace. It was the silence before the storm in the weeks after. Earth's defense and the destruction of the alien armada. Shockwaves moved through every corner of the stars. The Council's strongest fleets had been broken. Their pride shattered. Their weapons useless. But most terrifying of all humans, were no longer hiding. They were moving, they were organizing, and they were angry. On the ruined world of Trellix 9, secret alien base buzzed with panic. The base once ran experiments on captured humans. Now, the scientists were deleting data, burning research, and begging for extraction. They had seen the Guardian. They had seen Reva Hale, and they knew what was coming. "We have to leave now," shouted a tall insectoid scientist. A siren echoed. Then silence. Everyone stopped. One of the alien guards turned to the camera screens. "Wait, where are the patrol drones?" All screens were static. Then one came online, and everyone in the room froze. It showed a figure human, looking calmly through the smoking remains of the base's outer wall. Fire followed her like a shadow. Her armor was dark, burnt, glowing at the edges, and her eyes were shining gold. "It's her," the scientist whispered. "The human pilot?" "No," said another. "She's more than that now." A signal. Reva Hale didn't speak as she moved through the corridors. The Guardian armor was no longer just a machine. It had become a part of her. Slimmer now, built for infiltration instead of war. Behind her, a new Terran strike team followed, silent, deadly, and precise. They weren't here to talk. They were here to erase the past in one sweep. Reva's team disabled the base's power, destroyed the research servers, and freed the surviving human prisoners, most of them sick, starving, forgotten. One prisoner, an old man with scars on his arms, looked up at Reva and whispered, "You came back." Reva knelt down. "We never left.
Ow.
We were waiting." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Nightfall was no longer alone. Hundreds of Terran ships had emerged. Some old, some new, some hidden in asteroid belts. Others buried in broken moons. A fleet was forming, but not just any fleet. This one had a purpose, a target, and a leader. Admiral Rourke stood at the head of the strategy table, looking at the holographic map of Council space. His face was hard, jaw set, but his eyes burned. He pointed at a red star system. This is where it started. The Council's core worlds, their pride, their power, their capital. Joe's voice spoke through the speakers. "It is heavily defended." "I don't care," Rourke said. "It's time the galaxy learned what it means to underestimate Earth." Another officer leaned forward. "Are you planning a full invasion?" Rourke looked around the table. "No," he said. "We're going to do what they did to us. We're going to make them afraid. One system at a time." Back in Council space, fear was spreading. Alien civilians whispered about the return of Earth. Some didn't believe it. Others didn't pack their families, closed their businesses, and fled deeper into the unknown zones. But the Council, they were stuck. They couldn't fight back. Their best fleets were gone. Their weapons outdated. Their intelligence useless. One Council leader, a gray-skinned being with crystal eyes, spoke in a secret meeting. "They've changed. Humans have unlocked something ancient. Something we tried to erase." Another added, "They were broken before, but now they are focused. Unified. We should have never pushed them this far." Third asked the only question that mattered. "What do we do now?" The answer came not in words, but in light. A bright flash in the sky above their planet, then sound like thunder. A Terran ship had just arrived inside Council space. The Nightfall was faster than ever. Upgraded with alien tech, AI fusion, and plasma rail drives. It blinked through space like a shadow, arriving without warning, and it wasn't alone. A group of human warships appeared behind it, shaped like spears. Humming with power inside, Reva sat beside Admiral Rourke. Her armor was still glowing. She turned to him. "You sure you want to do this?" "We're already in it," he said. "Now we make them feel it." Outside the Council's main planet, alarms screamed. Dozens of alien defense satellites activated, charging weapons, but before they could fire, the Guardian launched from orbit. This time, it was different. Bigger, brighter, fused with alien core technology. It didn't fall from the sky. It descended like a god. It landed on the Council's sacred plaza, the very place where Earth had once begged for mercy decades ago. Now, humans weren't begging. They were warning. Reva stepped from the cockpit and projected a message across all channels, all species, all frequencies. She didn't raise her voice, but every word hit like a hammer. This is not revenge. This is justice. You hurt us. You erased us. But we rebuilt. We rebuilt. Returned, and now we remember. If you come near Earth, again we won't send a fleet. We'll send fire. The message ended, and the Guardian vanished into orbit. The Terran fleet jumped, away seconds later and touched, but the message remained. On every screen, on every wall, in every heart. Humans were not just back. They had become unstoppable. In the final scene, Barnzel stood in his private chamber alone. He watched the Guardian's message again and again. Then he said, almost to himself, "The age of aliens is over." Turned to the window, looking into space. The humans are the storm now. The stars above the council worlds didn't shine the same anymore. Where once they had looked down upon a united galactic government, now they watched a galaxy frozen in fear. The council was still alive, but only in name. Their fleets were scattered. Their control was broken, and the silence in their meetings had grown heavy. The reason was simple. Earth was no longer a lost backwater planet. It was now the center of power. Far from the capital, in an asteroid field near the old neutral zone, a secret gathering was taking place. But this was no council meeting. This was something new. Alien leaders from species once allied. The council were meeting with human commanders. Some came out of fear, others out of curiosity. And a few came because they had seen Earth's power and respected it. Admiral Rourke stood in the center, silent, letting the aliens speak. "We came to understand," said one thin creature with bright red eyes. "Is Earth going to conquer us now?"
Oh.
Reva Hale stood beside the Admiral. Her armor was at rest, her expression but serious. "No," she answered. "But we won't let what happened to us happen again."
Another
Alien, older and taller, leaned forward. "Then what do you want?" Rourke's voice was quiet, but full of weight. "We want truth, justice, and the right to defend ourselves. We want peace, but not the kind forced by fear, the kind earned with respect." The room fell silent, then slowly. Some of the aliens nodded, and for the first time, new alliance was born. Not ruled by the Council, not ruled by Earth, but built together with Earth at the table. But not everyone wanted peace. Deep in the edge of the galaxy, in a dark system forgotten by most maps, Barnzel was preparing for something else. He hadn't given up. The former council leader was gathering the last of his loyal warlords' rogue scientists, mercenary fleets, and secret weapons. "This isn't over," he growled in his private command center. "They humiliated us. They made us weak. But they are still just humans." One of his officers, a lizard-like alien, looked nervous. "But sir, they're different now." "No," Varn shouted. "They bleed. They can be broken. We just need to hit them first, before they fully unite the other species." He turned to a screen showing the Guardian armor. "Destroy her. Destroy Hale. And their hope dies with her." A dark plan was set in motion. Days later, in orbit above a peaceful colony planet called Solara 3, Reva Hale was overseeing the construction of a joint human-alien research station. Children were playing in the gardens below. Scientists were working together, exchanging data. It was peaceful until the warning came. A massive energy surge followed by a surprise. Fleet appearing out of warp. Unknown weapons. Black ships. No insignia. Varn Zell had arrived, and he wasn't here to talk. The battle began immediately. Civilians were evacuated. Defense turrets activated. But it wasn't enough. These weren't standard council ships. They were twisted, upgraded. With illegal tech, filled with rage and revenge, Reva jumped into the Guardian armor once more. But even she was caught off guard by the speed of the attack. A missile struck the station. Another ship dove toward the planet. The situation was falling apart, until a voice echoed in Reva's helmet. "Echo, I have detected the pattern of the enemy. Ships, They are using a neural override system. Can be disrupted, but only from inside. Riva's eyes narrowed. Then take me there. In the heart of battle, the Guardian cut through space like a blade of light. It dodged fire, shielded civilians, and flew straight into the belly of Varnzel's main command ship alone, inside the dark hallways of the enemy vessel. Riva fought her way forward. Drones, mercenaries, and bio-enhanced guards all fell before her. Finally, she reached the core chamber, and there he was, Varnzel, older, angrier, desperate. You think this makes you a god? He hissed. You think because you have fire, you can rule the stars? Reva stepped forward. I don't want to rule anything. I want to stop monsters like you. They clashed, the Guardian versus Varn's dark exo-dash suit, steel and plasma sword, against claws. It was brutal, explosive. Personal Riva was wounded. Armor cracked, but she didn't stop. In the end, she drove her blade straight through Varn's core, his. Last words, they'll never follow you. Her reply, they already are. Back outside with the command ship destroyed. The rest of Varn's fleet broke formation. Human ships arrived at the nightfall, and a dozen others. T.